Larry Johnson, welcome here, and thanks for the triple duty this week, because, of course, we'll be seeing you tomorrow with the great Ray McGovern. Don't the winners of wars usually get to write the peace agreements?
Right, and this was crafted between. Actually, this is largely the document that Iran presented to the United States government, to Trump, back on April 8th, April 15th. So when the ceasefire was first declared, Iran said, "Here's our position," and they had 5 red lines that are all reflected in this document. And let's see, it was lifting of sanctions, unfreezing of assets, recognizing their control over the Strait of Hormuz. The most important one was getting an end to the war in Lebanon, bringing that to a halt. So they got what they wanted, what they were insisting on. They made it clear they were not going to, I guess, make a compromise on any of that. One of the most remarkable things in the agreement is it's all, if you could only choose one, you choose the one that is the very opening paragraph. And it reads, the key line in it says that the Islamic Republic of Iran, the United States of America, and their allies, by signing this memorandum of understanding, declare, and then it says, to guarantee the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. That is remarkable, because when you assert that you're going to, what violates the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon?
Well, the presence of the IDF.
Yes, exactly right. So that means, to guarantee that integrity, Iran now has legally, not legally, because this is not legally binding document, but it has a declaration from the United States that basically you can get Israel out of Lebanon.
Wow. Well, I'm jumping ahead from what I had planned to ask you. What will Netanyahu do to wreck this, and what will Trump and the Iranians do to resist or restrain Netanyahu?
Well, let's recognize that it's not just Netanyahu. There have been statements like yesterday, day before, by Naftali Bennett, who's the political opponent of Netanyahu, who's seen as being to the left of Netanyahu, and he was excoriating Netanyahu as basically, you've failed us, and he was threatening Iran. By God, if you'll find out if I'm president, we're not going to forget. So across Israeli society, the vast majority, they want to keep the war going in Lebanon. They want to keep the war going with Iran. So, what should we watch for? There's not a lot Netanyahu can do without the support of the United States or the Israelis. There's not a lot they can do without U.S. financial and military support. So what I'll be looking for is, if they get the agreement signed on Friday, and that's still, never discount the possibility of the second signing ceremony going awry. Will we start seeing the return of U.S. aircraft, combat aircraft, and air refuelers from Israel? If they start pulling out, that's going to send a clear message to Israel, to the rest of the region. Yeah, the United States actually is leaving this, where our being on posture for war is now disappearing.
Wow. Here is Naftali Bennett threatening Iran. He's on the Piers Morgan show. Watch this. Cut number 19, Chris.
I want to tell the Iranian regime from here, I'm going to be your worst nightmare ever.
President Trump said in March 2026, there will be no deal with Iran except unconditional surrender. We're a long way from that, aren't we, Naftali Bennett?
Well, what you've just described is that Iran is a big, violent bully, and it proves all the more so that we have to ensure that it doesn't acquire a nuclear weapon, ensure that it can't terrorize the world, because we've seen a demonstration of what this bully looks like when it uses conventional weapons. So now imagine what it would look like if it acquires nuclear weapons. So if anything, we've all seen the true Iran. I also want to tell you that I believe that soon in Israel, there'll be a new government. Hopefully, I'll lead that new government. I want to tell the Iranian regime from here, I'm going to be your worst nightmare ever. I won't relent until we free your people, ensure you don't have a nuclear weapon. So you've got no hope. We won't let up on this effort because it's fighting for our freedom, for our security, and for the benefit of the entire Middle East.
How odd that he would be calling Iran a bully when Israel is, of course, the greatest state sponsor of terrorism. You told us on Monday that if Iran and Israel fight each other alone, Iran has about 6 or 7 days. Excuse me, Israel has about 6 or 7 days before it's over.
I don't think they could sustain a large missile barrage. You know what is so ridiculous about what Mr. Bennett said. Everybody can do. Anybody that has access to a computer and has a search engine, Google, or better yet, if one of the AI engines like Grok or Claude, go in and type in this: how many Israelis has Hezbollah killed since the start of since 1982, since its founding, and then ask the reverse question: how many Palestinians has Israel killed? And you find out that for every dead Israeli, there are 80 dead Palestinians. So to talk about Iran being the terrorist in the neighborhood, Naftali Bennett needs to look in the mirror. He's describing Israel, what it has been. And the same question with respect to, how many Israelis has Iran killed, vice how many Iranians has Israeli killed? Again, grossly disproportionate numbers. So this is mythology. It's based upon a form of racism.
What pushed Trump from unconditional surrender to giving the take a look at that and look who's screwing it on the wall there, from unconditional surrender to giving Iran just about everything he wanted? Is it the economy, stupid?
Yeah. We're running out of oil. He was briefed. So I had written on Monday, just looking at, because there were numbers published saying that the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was at 360. And
what does that mean, 360?
360 million barrels of oil, which at a consumption rate of 20 million barrels per day, which is what the United States consumes, that would leave us with no oil in the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in 18 days. Well, it turned out that number was wrong. It was 349 million as of June 5th. So it's even lower now. So I looked at that analytically. Then Pepe Escobar, our good friend, he got confirmation that President Trump was briefed. I don't know if it was Sunday or Monday, but he got a briefing. It had to come from Secretary of Energy Wright that said, we're going to run out of oil. If we don't get the Strait of Hormuz opened now, we're going to run out of oil, and it's going to be a major crisis. And then Trump, he admitted that yesterday. He said, "Hey, listen, we got to get it open because we're going to be without oil." And he said 4 weeks. The number Pepe had heard was middle of August. Regardless, that was the prime motivator that we've got. The world is going to face an economic crisis in a few weeks. And look, the reality is just opening the Strait of Hormuz does not fix this. It's not like turning a switch on, a light switch on and off. You just flick it on and the lights come right on immediately. When it's signed on Friday, it's going to take weeks to actually start moving, getting the ships in a condition where they can take on oil, getting them cleaned out, those that have had oil sitting in them that may not be any good, turning back on lines in Saudi Arabia and Qatar that were shut down. And then once the ships, start sailing out of the Persian Gulf with oil, it's going to take, it could take a month. So this is, we're not looking at the prospect for any kind of immediate relief. until maybe September at the earliest. That's being optimistic, and then that's pretending that there are no mines. With the mines that are reportedly floating around the Persian Gulf, number one, the insurance companies aren't going to insure ships until those mines are cleared out. And when the Pentagon briefed Congress in April, they said it would take up to 6 months.
Wow.
So so this is some real daunting figures here, and there's going to be a major adjustment in the oil market. All this immediate euphoria that they said, oh, oil futures are down. Everyone's betting that oil is going to be down to $70 a barrel in a couple of months. But probably not. And I'm not making an economic prediction. I'm just saying that if the goal is to replace, get the 20% of oil that was cut off on February 28th back online, there are a number of obstacles standing in the way for that to happen anytime within the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Here's the president yesterday, Larry, talking about oil reserves. Chris, cut number 7.
I'm going to get bad press. I know that. Now, if I did the opposite, if I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I'd get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about $500, $600, $700 million a day. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid. It's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. There are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see bedlam?
Yeah.
There you go. 3 to 4 weeks. That's even more pessimistic than what you just articulated.
Yeah, and it is, and that's why he got that briefing. That finally woke him up. They recognized that no, they're not kidding, because they've been up to this point. The administration and other governments have been masking it because they've been drawing on reserves, and I think some initially thought, oh, we can draw reserves because no way Iran can sustain this, and it turned out we're the ones having trouble sustaining it. So this is, come August, but particularly we could be looking at a major economic crisis that has been sparked by the fact that they've run out of reserves, and getting the other 20% back online is running up against some real problems.
I'm going to play another clip for you, Larry, from yesterday. And the president is surrounded by, among others, Secretary of State Rubio and Secretary of State Lutnick. You got to watch Rubio, who's more interested in looking at the shoes that Trump gave him than he is in looking at the audience when Trump is saying things that Rubio knows he can't defend. And then you have to watch Lutnick shake his head no when Trump says the Israelis are happy about this deal, and where Trump comes up with this stuff. But we'll talk about this. Chris, cut number 1.
Many countries all over the world are so. Every country, I think Israel too. Look, think of what Israel's getting. They're not going to be nuked. It's very simple. I told Bibi, your biggest risk was that they'd drop a nuclear weapon into the middle of Israel. They'd only need one, and there would be no more Israel. Think of it, baby. You got the most important thing that you were asking for is that. So I think they're happy.
People around him were not happy because they know the near impossibility of defending this. I mean, this is a quantum leap from surrender,
right?
Unconditional surrender, and now Iran has emerged from a confrontation with the world's most powerful military, celebrating.
Yes. Well, this was is quite a contrast. I don't know if you've watched your former employer, the folks on your former employer network. They're not a bunch of happy campers.
No.
And a lot of the personnel.
What is General Keane saying this morning?
Well, his head, I think his head exploded. He just, they can't believe that they feel betrayed by Trump. And again, you got to give Trump. We've talked about, and Robert Barnes in particular, about some of the odd behaviors by Donald Trump, but whatever difficulties or weaknesses from potential prefrontal lobe dementia, he still has some reasoning intact. And when he was told what the real consequences that we're facing with this depletion of the strategic petroleum reserve, he made the right decision. There was no other way out of this. These people that think, all we had to do is just use more military power. No, in fact, the administration created a problem for itself by not accurately reporting how much damage Iran was doing to U.S. military installations, key communications radar sites, and the aircraft in the region. Just with the MQ-9 Reaper drone alone, almost $2 billion in losses with that. So, that's not, and that's just dealing with the drone. You're not talking about other aircraft that have been destroyed, but more importantly, these different radar systems and let's call them satellite systems that were on the ground and destroyed in multiple billions of dollars. So again, the American public was largely kept in the dark about all of this, and this seems to come out of the blue. But Trump now, and this may be too late for him. They're trying to put the brakes on this war, and it just may be too late to prevent the economic turmoil that he was warned about this week.
Wow. Chris has put together a couple of clips from him yesterday where he admits things that 3 days ago you would never expected him to have admitted. It's their money, the $24 billion. They can now have nuclear material for their electricity uses. They can now have ballistic missiles. And again, it's their money. We have to give it back. Chris.
We've been pretty tough on that. It is a little hard, though, when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it, other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. So
you said you don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some.
Can you explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars for
Well, the unfreezing is an easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back.
He told the truth.
He did tell the truth this time around.
Yeah.
Is all of this fear of them losing the midterms, which he'll probably lose anyway because this is too little too late? It's all of this, hey, I solved the problems caused by a war that I didn't have to start.
Yeah, if this is a Hail Mary pass. If by getting the Strait of Hormuz back open and taking Iran off the enemies list and treating Iran like a real nation, it is possible that he could prevent the economic chaos. I guess that's what they're banking on, and that will be. He can then point to peace. See, I brought peace to the Middle East. Now, a lot of this hinges on Israel, and I've said tongue in cheek, the person who's going to win the Nobel Peace Prize for this is Bibi Netanyahu, because if it were not for Netanyahu launching that attack in Beirut, Lebanon, in Beirut, the suburb Dahia, a week ago, more than a week ago, and then Israel retaliating or getting ready to, Iran getting ready to retaliate against Israel, and Trump stopped it by cutting these deals. This agreement, the MOU that's going to be signed on Friday, would never have been signed had Bibi Netanyahu not launched that attack in Dahia.
So Trump has already signed it. He signed it in, of all places, the Palace of Versailles. What's going to happen on Friday? Foreign Minister Arachi will sign it in Geneva?
Yeah, there'll be Galibaf, the head of the parliament, and Arachi will be there, and I guess Vice President Vance. They're going to be in a place called Bergenstock, Switzerland. It was changed because the Pakistani and Chinese intelligence learned that Israel was going to attempt an assassination of the Iranian delegation, and so it was moved to a more secure facility location that is it's owned actually, I think, by the Emir of Qatar. So it'll be a formal signing between them. Now, as you've commented before, it has no legal binding. It would be
it's a contract, but it's not ratified by the Senate. It's not a treaty.
Correct. And which would it would be ideal if actually it could be brought back and presented to the Senate for ratification and endorsement, because that would show that the political class in the United States is actually committed to this. Right now, this is just Donald Trump.
Yeah. So where are Lindsey Graham and Tom Cotton and Ted Cruz? I know where Huckabee is. We're going to play that for you in a minute. You'll have to hang on to your breakfast. But where are the neocons in the Congress?
They're going crazy. I mean, they're outraged. Graham, up at this point, he's actually he's being cautious with what he says in public. Part of that, I think, is that Donald Trump went to bat heavily for Graham in his recent primary in South Carolina, but they're not happy, and it's actually what was now very curious is you got Democrats criticizing this as well. So if the Democrats now, like we saw with Naftali Bennett in Israel, you get rid of Netanyahu, you still got somebody who's saying we're gonna destroy Iran. So this it's like a mental illness that's infected all of these people.
Chris found a clip of Trump admitting what you, Larry, have accused him of doing all along, which is the stock market manipulation. He said this yesterday. Watch this, number 5, Chris.
So the one thing I didn't want to see economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened. But all I know is every time we talked about the possibility of peace, the stock market shot up like a rocket ship. It never went down. They didn't like it. The people, the stock market is more brilliant than anybody there is, including the people on the stage, other than me, of course. Let's see. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Is the stock market more brilliant than you?
No, sir.
Oh, that's a terrible statement. All right. The stock market is quite brilliant. And every time we said something amazing, like we're going to settle, it would go up. And every time we said something negative, like, guess what, we're not going to be able to settle, it would go down very big, Peter, right? Very, very big. Tells you something.
Tells you something. Boy, if his family and if he made money on that stuff, he better pardon everybody before he leaves office.
Yeah, we saw a hint of his son, Eric, trying to see if he could fix one of the fights at the UFC, at the Coliseum event they had at the White House the other day. So, I mean, that's the kind of corruption you're talking about, where you're trading on insider information.
I was going to save this for you and Ray tomorrow, but I can't resist. I'll play it now. Chris, this is Mike Huckabee when he learned of the deal, telling a group of Israeli donors, you ready for this, Larry? There would be no United States of America without Israel.
It's also my job to represent the importance of Israel to the United States. This is just another reminder that it is your heritage, without a doubt. But, Minister, It is also the heritage of the United States. Without Israel, without the Jewish Foundation, there would not be an America. We owe our very existence to what happened in this land.
Talk about a guy that should be fired for publicly renouncing his bosses.
Yeah, well, this is where we have to consider. Let's create Judge Napolitano, the musical, and in this case, you'd have Huckabee, and you'd hear Sam Cooke come up singing, "Don't know much about history."
Right,
I mean,
right.
you know, so somebody apparently didn't tell Mr. Huckabee
Right.
that we're getting ready to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the founding of America, and that Israel didn't show up until 1948.
I don't know where he comes off saying on this. These are texts from Mark Levin, who, of course, is furious. It's too long to read. Anybody can go and find them. But this is an example of the Zionist lobby and soon the American neocons, all of whom supported Trump, all of whom loved Trump. Levin famously said, Trump is America's first Jewish president, to which Trump nodded yes. This is an example of all of them turning on Trump over this. What will Netanyahu do? Will he continue to bomb Lebanon? Will he try and assassinate Iranian leaders? Will he feel the wrath of Iran unleashed?
Yeah, no, I think it's the latter. Of course, Israel will continue its efforts to attack Iran and to kill its leaders. Iran now they've been given basic permission by the United States to clear Israel out of southern Lebanon. And I anticipate that what we'll see in the coming week is that Israel will be advising Hezbollah, Iran will be advising Hezbollah to stop firing any rockets and missiles into Israel proper. Instead, concentrate fire on the Israeli units that remain in southern Lebanon, drive them out, and then restore the sovereignty of Lebanon as the MOU stipulates. And to that extent, Israel doesn't have the quantity of long-range missiles, ballistic missiles, that Iran does. It doesn't even begin to compare. So they are left with having to fly their F-35s to the border of Iran and launching Tomahawk and JASSM cruise missiles, of which those are also diminishing in quantity. And to do that, they have to have at least 2 air refuelings going and 2 air refuelings coming back. So they have a limited ability to respond and a pretty heavy logistics lift to do it. So this is, they cannot sustain a prolonged conflict. It would just, without the United States full backing. And it looks like now Trump has pulled that plug. I never thought he would do it. I admit I was wrong. I thought he was too much beholden to the Zionist lobby. But apparently what he was told about the looming economic crisis scared him.
Was he told what Epstein data Netanyahu has and may release?
No, in fact, I think if nothing else, this will probably put that story to rest. That Israel, if they had anything, they would have used it on this
to have prevented this from happening.
Exactly right, and it hasn't been used. I mean, if you're going to use it, if you had that break glass in case of fire material, this would have been when you used it. They haven't used it, so that tells me whatever speculation there was about them having blackmail material, they don't have it.
Got it. Larry, thank you very much, my dear man. I always thank you for accommodating my schedule. This time I really mean it. I meant it the other times as well. You know me.
Hey, well, Judge, anything for you. You know me.
God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow with Ray McGovern at the end of the day. Thank you, Larry.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
All the best. And coming up later today, 2 more of our favorites, our heavy hitters on all of this at 2 o'clock, Colonel Douglas McGregor. And on all of this at 3 o'clock, the golden boy, Max Blumenthal, Just Napolitano for Judging Freedom.